For 3 years of marriage, I existed as nothing more than a programmed puppet in Kelly's carefully constructed artificial love system. Within every affluent social circle we belonged to, I was the universally recognized henpecked husband, the docile, obedient spouse who deferred to his wife on every decision, adjusted every social move to cater to her sense of security, and tolerated every extreme, suffocating restriction she placed on my life. Everyone praised Kelly for being deeply affectionate, overly protective, and madly in love with me. They envied our so-called perfect marriage, whispering that I was the luckiest man alive to have a wife who loved me so fiercely she could not bear to let me stray even an inch. No one knew the terrifying truth hidden beneath her sweet, loving public facade. Her love was never affection. It was cold, calculated algorithmic control, a full-scale digital surveillance program tailor-made to lock me into a submissive, isolated, completely controllable life, while she indulged in unrestrained betrayal and moral corruption behind my back. Kelly had spent 3 years weaving an invisible cage for me, using love as a disguise and artificial intelligence as her weapon. She claimed her overbearing supervision, her endless inquiries, and her extreme restrictions were all proof of her devotion. She insisted that her fear of losing me drove her to monitor every corner of my life, and I, blinded by naive marital loyalty and the desire to maintain our perfect public marriage image, chose to believe every word of her lies. I compromised repeatedly, surrendered my personal privacy, gave up my social freedom, and even adjusted my work and communication habits to fit her absurd rules, convincing myself that this oppressive restraint was just an extreme form of love. Her control was never limited to trivial daily checks. She went far beyond ordinary marital suspicion, investing heavily in customized private AI monitoring software exclusively for our marriage. This intelligent system was programmed solely to track and evaluate my every move, scanning my social media messages, filtering my workplace communication records, analyzing my interaction frequency with every female colleague, friend, and stranger, and generating real-time risk assessment reports on her personal mobile terminal every single day. I had always known she used AI to monitor me, but I had foolishly regarded it as her paranoid way of cherishing our marriage. I never once doubted that the entire system was a one-sided trap, designed only to restrain me, while she exempted herself from every rule, hiding her own dirty secrets behind the algorithm's blind spots. Day after day, the cold, mechanical synthesized voice of her AI system would ring out softly from her phone, delivering its rigid, judgmental surveillance updates without emotion. Target spouse social boundary ambiguous. Cross-gender communication frequency exceeds preset threshold. Risk index elevated. Recommend enhanced real-time monitoring, restricted social access, and increased behavioral verification frequency. Every cold robotic sentence was another invisible chain tightening around my neck. I was trapped in this airless, inescapable so-called love, suffocating under her full-scale surveillance, yet I endured it silently for 3 full years, clinging to the delusion that I was protecting our marriage. I deleted every female colleague's contact that made her uneasy, declined all mixed-gender social gatherings, reported every trip and every conversation in detail, and even handed over my social media account passwords unconditionally, just to appease her so-called insecurity. I sacrificed my personal freedom, my social circle, and my private space for this marriage, foolishly believing that my compromise would exchange for sincere loyalty and lasting happiness. I thought I was maintaining love. In reality, I was training myself to be her most obedient, most controllable puppet, while she laughed at my stupidity with outsiders behind my back. The devastating truth that shattered all my delusions and awakened my complete rationality came on a quiet weekday evening, in the confined space of her luxury SUV, a car I rarely drove, a space she had always claimed was her private safe territory. I sat passively in the passenger seat, waiting for Kelly to finish shopping for groceries and return to the car so we could head home for dinner. My phone connected automatically to the vehicle's built-in Bluetooth audio system, a routine connection I had never paid attention to before. In the next second, before I could cut off the connection or adjust the settings, a clear, lazy young male laugh burst loudly from the car's high-end surround sound speakers, sharp and unmissable in the quiet vehicle. Hey, Kelly, your husband is seriously well-trained. He's even more obedient than your AI algorithm. 3 years of brainwashing and surveillance have turned him into a perfect puppet who never doubts you at all. The casual, mocking tone of the male voice sent a sharp chill sweeping through every inch of my body, and my body stiffened instantly, every muscle locking up in stunned disbelief. Before I could process the initial shock, the man's teasing voice continued, carrying undisguised amusement at my ignorance and stupidity. What if he ever finds out you've been using a custom AI system to track his every move, monitor his every word, and control his entire life? Do you think he'll still find this creepy surveillance romantic? Do you think he'll still be willing to be your obedient lapdog after knowing the truth? The Bluetooth recording was a private voice chat between Kelly and this strange man, automatically synchronized and played back by the car system without warning. Every word was a ruthless exposure of the 3-year fake love and algorithmic trap I had been trapped in. All my compromises, all my endurance, all my sincere devotion were nothing but a ridiculous farce in their eyes. I was not a beloved husband. I was a trained toy, a monitored puppet, a fool who devoted everything to a marriage built entirely on lies and deception. After a short pause filled with mocking silence, Kelly's familiar voice rang out through the speaker, warm and sweet as always, but laced with thick, undisguised disdain, contempt, and arrogant superiority that I had never heard her use toward me. He will never find out. He's far less intelligent than my algorithm. The AI can analyze risks and detect anomalies, but he's too loyal, too stupid, and too trusting to ever question me. He'll spend his whole life being my obedient, monitored husband without ever realizing he's trapped. Every single word sliced through my heart like a sharp blade, completely severing the last thread of my lingering affection and marital delusion. For 3 years, I had endured suffocating surveillance, sacrificed my freedom, and tolerated her extreme control out of love and trust. I had forgiven her paranoia, accommodated her every demand, and comforted her every insecurity, only to discover that I was nothing but a joke, a puppet manipulated by her and her cold algorithm. Through the car's dark tinted windows, I watched Kelly's figure walking slowly toward the vehicle. She was dressed elegantly, her posture graceful, her expression gentle and soft, wearing the perfect mask of a devoted, loving wife that had fooled me and everyone around us for 3 entire years. She approached the car with casual ease, completely unaware that her 3-year lie, her algorithmic control, and her secret betrayal had been fully exposed in front of me. She pulled open the driver's door smoothly, lowered herself into the seat, and turned to face me with her usual warm, intimate, caring tone, her eyes soft and innocent, showing no trace of guilt or deceit. "Everything okay, baby? You look a little quiet. Did you have a tiring day at work?" Her disguise was flawless, natural, and practiced, the same gentle act she had performed thousands of times to fool me. If I had not overheard that cruel voice chat recording, I would have softened immediately, explained my mood, and comforted her that everything was fine, continuing my role as her obedient, ignorant husband. But at this moment, all my blindness and tolerance were completely gone. The moment the truth was exposed, my mind underwent a thorough, intelligent awakening, just like the AI system she relied on. My rationality was fully activated, all emotional filters were shut down, and only cold, precise, absolute judgment remained. I stared straight at her gentle, deceptive face, my eyes calm, deep, and unwavering, no longer carrying any love, compromise, or weakness. Without a single word of argument, without any hysterical questioning, without showing the slightest anger or grievance, I lifted my phone slowly, right in front of her eyes. I unlocked the screen steadily, opened the exact same AI marriage risk assessment application that she had used to monitor me for 3 long years, the algorithm system she had customized to control my life, the tool she had bragged was far smarter than me. Kelly's expression remained soft and unknowing, a faint gentle smile still hanging on her lips, completely unaware of the fatal judgment I was about to launch. I tapped the voice input button on the application interface calmly, my tone steady, flat, and emotionless, inputting every accurate, ironclad fact that defined her fraudulent marriage and betrayal. Initiate full marriage risk assessment. Target spouse behavior indicators. Overnight unexcused absences for multiple occasions, long-term full-scale AI surveillance and privacy infringement on partner, deliberate mental manipulation and behavioral control, sustained ambiguous intimate contact with external male individuals, long-term fraudulent emotional disguise, and marital moral corruption. Calculate comprehensive risk level and output official system recommendation. The phone screen flickered once, the algorithm program running at high speed, analyzing every behavioral factor with cold, absolute, unbiased machine logic. No favoritism, no emotional compromise, no blind tolerance, completely different from my human leniency over the past 3 years. In less than a second, a blazing, eye-catching red warning box popped up prominently on the clean phone screen, bold and shocking, impossible to ignore, displaying the algorithm's final, ruthless judgment without any ambiguity. Marital risk level. Extremely critical. System official recommendation. Immediate marital termination. Divorce is the only optimal solution. The moment the red warning text appeared, Kelly's perfect, gentle mask shattered completely in an instant. All the tenderness, softness, and calm on her face vanished without a trace. Her complexion drained of all color in the blink of an eye, turning deathly pale, her eyes widening in terrified shock and flustered panic. Her body stiffened in the driver's seat, her breathing suddenly chaotic and unsteady, the confident arrogance and disdain she had shown in the voice chat completely collapsing. She finally realized that her 3-year lie had been exposed. Her algorithmic control, her secret betrayal, her contemptuous manipulation of me had all been laid bare. The AI system she had always relied on to judge and control me had finally turned its cold, precise judgment on her own corrupt behavior, giving the most ruthless and accurate verdict on her fake marriage. I stared at her panicked, pale face, the exhaustion from 3 years of suppressed grievance and endless tolerance surging faintly in my chest. I curved my lips into a thin, tired, cold smile, no longer affectionate, no longer compromising, only calm and thorough indifference. My voice was low, steady, and extremely clear, every word a precise and crushing final verdict. Tell me, is the algorithm accurate this time? Kelly's whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. Her elegant and dignified posture completely collapsed, her hands trembling slightly on the steering wheel, her eyes filled with flustered panic and desperate attempts to salvage the situation. She had always believed that she was the controller of this marriage, the only intelligent manipulator behind all rules and surveillance. She had always thought her algorithm was her exclusive tool to monitor and judge me, never imagining that one day this precise, unbiased system would completely expose her crimes and sentence her fake marriage to death. She struggled to adjust her chaotic breathing, forcing a trembling, fake gentle smile on her pale face, trying to restore her previous affectionate wife disguise and blur the clear truth in front of us. Baby, you misunderstood. That voice chat was just a casual joke with a friend. It's not what you think. The AI system's judgment is too rigid and cold. It doesn't understand our feelings. It can't judge our 3 years of deep love accurately. Her voice was trembling and incoherent, her excuse weak and ridiculous. She tried to attribute her betrayal and manipulation to a casual joke, trying to deny the ironclad facts with emotional rhetoric, trying to use the past 3 years of emotional bondage to make me soften and compromise again. I looked at her flustered and clumsy excuse, my smile turning colder and more indifferent. I had tolerated her rigid AI surveillance for 3 years, listened to countless cold algorithmic risk warnings, compromised again and again for the sake of so-called feelings, and ignored all the system's abnormal reminders for her sake. I had abandoned rational judgment for love, but she had never abandoned her calculation and control for love. She had always used cold algorithms to demand absolute obedience from me, but regarded her own betrayal and manipulation as trivial jokes that could be easily forgiven. Misunderstanding. I repeated the word softly, my tone flat and sarcastic, without the slightest fluctuation of emotion. Is 3 years of full-scale AI surveillance a misunderstanding? Is mocking me as a stupid puppet with a strange man a misunderstanding? Is hiding ambiguous intimate relationships behind my back while demanding my absolute loyalty a misunderstanding? I raised my phone again, sliding the screen slowly, displaying all the historical data of this customized AI monitoring system that I had completely sorted out the moment I heard the voice chat recording. The system not only monitored my behavior, but also automatically recorded all the binding users' behavioral loopholes and abnormal records. Kelly had never bothered to check her own risk reports because she had always believed she was above the system's judgment. The screen displayed dense, precise, timestamp perfect abnormal records, hundreds of late-night private voice chats with the same unknown male user, dozens of unreported overnight absences with ambiguous positioning records, repeated deletion of intimate chat records triggered by the system's automatic risk capture, and multiple consumption records of couple-themed gifts and luxury items not given to me. Every record was cold, objective, and irrefutable algorithmic evidence, completely exposing her 3-year continuous fraud and betrayal. This algorithm is rigid and cold, yes, I said calmly, my eyes locking firmly on her completely panicked face, but it is far more accurate and honest than your 3 years of fake love and deceptive tenderness. It never distorts facts, never whitewashes sin, never pretends to be affectionate while secretly humiliating and betraying others. Kelly's sophistry was completely shattered by the ironclad algorithm evidence on the screen. She had no more words to defend herself, her eyes turning red with anxious panic, and she immediately switched from sophistry to fake grievance and emotional kidnapping, reaching out tremblingly to grab my arm, trying to use 3 years of marital affection to make me forgive her. I was wrong. I really was wrong. It's just momentary confusion. I only did the surveillance because I was too scared of losing you. I only chatted with others casually because I was under too much pressure in marriage. I've never really betrayed you. Don't believe the cold machine data. believe my heart for you." Her tears welled up instantly, sliding down her pale cheeks, performing a perfect scene of regret and grievance, trying to arouse my past affection and make me choose to compromise and forgive as I had countless times before. But after 3 years of being monitored, manipulated, and ridiculed as a puppet, my heart had long been completely chilled. I had seen through all her routines thoroughly. Her so-called insecurity was just an excuse for control. Her so-called momentary confusion was long-planned betrayal. Her so-called deep love was cold algorithmic manipulation and arrogant contempt. I shook off her trembling hand gently but firmly, my movements steady and unyielding, without the slightest tenderness or pity. Your heart, the heart that uses AI to monitor my every move, that laughs at my stupidity with outsiders, that treats my sincere compromise as a puppet's instinctive obedience? I don't need such a cold, hypocritical heart. You spent 3 years training me to be obedient under algorithmic surveillance, forcing me to abide by your strict emotional rules and social boundaries. You set countless strict risk assessment standards for me, punishing every slight abnormal behavior of mine. Now, the system's highest risk warning has fallen on you. You should personally accept the judgment of the rules you set yourself. I opened the system's user permission background directly on my phone, displaying the long-term permission settings she had secretly modified. She had set my user permission to the highest full surveillance level, with zero privacy and zero tolerance for abnormal behavior, while setting her own permission to system administrator exemption level, enjoying absolute freedom and complete supervision exemption. This was the real truth of our so-called balanced marriage, one-sided control and one-sided freedom. You set double standards for 3 years. I obeyed all the rules you made, and you enjoyed all the freedom you gave yourself. Today, I will let the rules return to fairness. You will bear all the risks and consequences of breaking the rules you established. Kelly completely collapsed emotionally. She could no longer maintain her elegant and gentle image, her voice breaking into desperate sobs. No, I can't lose this marriage. I can't lose everything. I'll turn off the AI system right now. I'll never monitor you again. I'll cut off all contact with others. I'll be a good wife. Please give me a chance. I watched her desperate, regretful, crying face, and there was no longer any fluctuation in my heart. I knew clearly that her regret was never for betraying me or hurting me, but only for being exposed and losing her perfect marriage reputation and stable life. If I had not overheard that voice chat recording, if I had not activated the system's full risk assessment, she would still be continuing her algorithmic control and secret betrayal, still mocking my stupidity with outsiders. I ignored her begging and crying, opened the system's official data export function directly, and exported all 3 years of surveillance logs, abnormal behavioral records, voice chat evidence, and permission modification records into a complete encrypted file. I backed up the file in multiple cloud disks to ensure that no evidence could be deleted or tampered with, completely locking up all her criminal facts. It's too late for regret. My tone was firm and unshakable when you used algorithms to trample on my privacy, when you used love as a disguise to manipulate my life, when you laughed at my sincerity with outsiders. You gave up your right to be forgiven. Immediately after finishing the evidence sorting, I took out my second mobile phone and dialed the family law lawyer I had reserved long ago. In fact, I had vaguely sensed her abnormal control and hidden loopholes half a year ago. Out of lingering affection, I had been waiting for her to repent and correct her behavior, so I had quietly consulted a lawyer and reserved a complete divorce plan, just to wait for the final truth confirmation. Today, all the doubts in my heart were confirmed, and the perfect time for a comprehensive counterattack had arrived. I spoke to the lawyer concisely and professionally, with clear logic and complete evidence. Hello, this is the client who consulted you about marital privacy infringement and emotional fraud half a year ago. I have obtained complete algorithm monitoring data, real-time voice chat evidence, and long-term abnormal behavioral records of my spouse's marital betrayal and mental manipulation. I formally applied to initiate divorce proceedings, file for full property division favoring the innocent party, and pursue legal liability for long-term privacy infringement and mental damage. Kelly's crying stopped abruptly when she heard the word divorce lawsuit. Her eyes were filled with extreme horror and panic. She knew very well that with complete algorithmic evidence and professional legal intervention, she would bear all the fault liability for the marriage breakdown. She would not only lose her marriage, but also face the punishment of privacy infringement and mental damage compensation, and her perfect social reputation would be completely ruined. Don't do this. Please don't sue me. She rushed over regardless of her image, trying to snatch my phone and stop my call. I'll give you all the property. I'll leave the house with nothing. Just don't make this public. Don't ruin my reputation. I easily avoided her frantic snatching action, ended the lawyer calls steadily, and turned to look at her embarrassed and flustered appearance. The 3 years of grievance and depression that had been suppressed in my heart finally dissipated completely, replaced by thorough relief and cold calm. You care more about your reputation and freedom than my feelings and rights for 3 years. Now, you have to bear the price of your choice. In the following days, I completely cut off all contact with Kelly, moved out of our shared home overnight, and handed all evidence and case procedures to my professional legal team. Without any emotional entanglement or unnecessary communication, I let the law and objective evidence complete the most fair and ruthless judgment on this fraudulent marriage. During the lawsuit process, Kelly repeatedly tried to contact me, sending countless begging messages, making endless repentance calls, and even blocking my company entrance and community gate to kneel and beg for forgiveness. She deleted all ambiguous contacts, shut down the customized AI monitoring system she was proud of, and tried every means to show her repentance, hoping that I would withdraw the lawsuit and give her a chance to restore her marriage and reputation. She even took the initiative to publicize her repentance in our social circle, pretending to be a lost wife who knew her mistakes, trying to win public sympathy and force me to forgive her through public opinion. But all her performances were futile in the face of my complete evidence chain and firm determination. I released a small part of the objective algorithm monitoring records and voice chat evidence to the core members of our social circle, letting everyone know the truth behind the so-called affectionate wife and henpecked husband story. Everyone was shocked to learn that the perfect, loving wife in their eyes was actually a manipulator who used high-tech means to control her husband and betrayed the marriage secretly. Public opinion reversed completely overnight. The previous praise for Kelly's deep love all turned into thorough disgust and condemnation. Everyone realized that my 3 years of compromise and obedience were never cowardice, but sincere marital tolerance, while Kelly's so-called deep love was cold control and hypocritical deception. Kelly's perfect social reputation collapsed completely. All her social connections and elite circle resources were cut off instantly. She went from a respected, enviable perfect wife to a notorious high-tech marriage manipulator and cheating woman in the entire circle, completely losing all her social prestige and interpersonal trust. The final court judgment came quickly and fairly. Based on the complete algorithm monitoring data, voice evidence, and behavioral record files I provided, the court fully confirmed Kelly's long-term marital fault, privacy infringement, emotional fraud, and mental abuse. The official judgment ruled that Kelly was the sole responsible party for the marriage breakdown. She was required to pay full mental damage compensation, and the marital property was divided 90% in my favor as the innocent party. In addition, the court issued a formal behavioral restraining order against Kelly, prohibiting her from any form of harassment, tracking, or contact with me for life, completely cutting off all her chances of pestering me again. The customized AI monitoring program she independently developed and used for illegal privacy infringement was officially ordered to be completely shut down and banned, and relevant technical records were submitted to the Industry Supervision Department for filing, leaving her with an official bad record in the technical industry. Kelly lost everything in the end. She lost her marriage, her property, her perfect reputation, her social circle, and even her industry credibility. She fell from the high-end elite life she was proud of to the bottom overnight, living in endless regret, condemnation, and loneliness every day. The algorithm she once relied on to control others finally destroyed her completely. As for me, after ending this cold, deceptive, manipulated marriage, I completely regained my personal freedom, privacy, and life initiative. I deleted all monitoring software, abandoned all constrained rules, returned to a free, relaxed, and self-respecting life state, and focused on my career and personal growth. Without the 3 years of suffocating control and mental consumption, my life became more open, wonderful, and independent than ever before. This marriage taught me the most profound life lesson. The most terrifying betrayal is not sudden emotional change, but long-term deliberate calculation and disguised control. False love wrapped in obsession and supervision is never affection, but a sophisticated prison built with lies and technology. Those who treat your sincerity as a controllable program and your devotion as a dispensable puppet will never deserve your tolerance and compromise. In the face of deceptive emotional control and hidden betrayal, blind forbearance can only sink deeper and deeper. Only rational awakening, precise evidence collection, and thorough counterattack can completely break the invisible cage, sanction the law-breaking manipulator, and regain your own life and dignity. Cold algorithms can judge facts, but only sober rationality can save life. All hypocritical control and deceptive love will eventually be completely crushed by truth and justice.